episode of our podcast, Better Habits. And today we have a guest, one of our certified habit coaches, Chris. Chris, why don't you say hello and just introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris. I've been working on the Coachdotme platform since 2018 and working as a habits coach on that platform, but also I run my own health clinic business where I specialize in helping people change the behaviors when it comes to health and fitness and well-being. So I'm based in the UK, but I have clients all around the world, from the west coast of America to all the way down to Australia, Germany, India, Philippines, everywhere. They pop up everywhere around the world.
Right. And just for the folks, I know we have a lot of listeners who are still considering if coaching is something for them. How did you end up being a coach?
Well, I started off in the late 90s being a personal trainer in central London in the UK. And I have a huge passion and love for exercise and health and so forth. I play a lot of sports and just that's my interest. So it was a natural thing to go into. And suddenly getting paid to teach people and talk to people about exercise, it was great. One of those jobs where I still do it if I wasn't paid type, if I didn't have to get paid. Just love doing it. But I found quite quickly that no matter how much you gave advice and help when it came to, exercise and health, a lot of people just wouldn't do what they need to do when you're not there. So I could do a really good job with a client during a session and they'd get a really good workout and I'd be really happy. And then I'd see them a week later and they wouldn't have really progressed. They wouldn't have kept up the exercise themselves. They wouldn't have stuck to the nutrition that we spoke about. That started me thinking about, okay, if I can only influence someone 1 hour a week, that's not going to be enough to really see results. And if they don't get results, they don't stay as clients. If they don't stay as clients, I don't have a business. And then I'll have to go and do something I don't enjoy so much. So I started looking into human behavior and why do people do what they do, even though they say they're going to do something else. And that's led me down the path for more coaching and away from training, which I still do and I still love. But a big part of what I do now as a business is coaching and helping people change the behaviors that are not helping them to one's behaviors that will. And that's kind of changed my whole approach to how I help people. And a lot more satisfying when I get people to change who they are and become a different person. That's quite satisfying. But also, it's taught me a lot more, skills and how to communicate with people, how to engage with them, and ultimately how to influence them. And I kind of came to realize that I'm someone who likes puzzles. I play a lot of chess, for example. Not necessarily I'm good at it, but I like it because the puzzle element to it. And I kind of see clients like a puzzle. But the thing with clients, they're all different. So every single puzzle is different. So you've got to treat them differently. You've got to approach them differently and not just have one kind of strategy and formula that you give out to everyone. You've got to be very specific and very personalized when you come to coach them. And that's the side of the job I really enjoy doing. It's like putting on a different cap every single time you coach someone. And it's also fascinating to see how people respond to what you're doing. So basically the answer to your question is, if people want to get into coaching, you've got to have that love for engaging with people, to be able to talk to them, be able to come to their level of thinking and so forth. Where I think a lot of coaches can make a mistake, which I've done, and think people have to come up to my level. And actually, to get them up to my level, of what I think they should be doing, I need to come down to them first and help them rise up. So to get into coaching, you've got to have that love and that passion for wanting to help people change, and not get frustrated too much if they take their time to change. You've got to meet them where they are and help them along, more than pulling them and cajoling them to where you think they need to be. So that's what I'd say to people trying to get into coaching. It's very satisfying when you work with people and see their lives change. But it can also be frustrating because people just don't necessarily do what they say they're going to do. And you've got to, as a coach, work out that riddle, that puzzle. You know, they say this, but then they don't do it. Why is that?
And that leads me to a question that maybe sounds a little bit random, but it just popped into my mind while you were talking. What was your, most difficult client, difficult case? And in the end, it worked out. You managed to help them.
With coaching, people come to us and ask for help, more than us going down, just down the street saying, "Do you need help? Do you need help?" They come to us. So in the realms of coaching, you have three things that people must kind of do to help them move forward. And the first thing is, are they ready to change? Now, that's quite an easy one to answer, because if they've come to you for help, then they're ready. Going to somebody who's not ready to change, then that's hard work. And one of the things I've said to people over the years, when they ask this question about, how do you find clients and how do you work with the difficult clients? The difficult ones are the ones that turn up, and the first question I ask them is, why are you here? And they'll say, my doctor said I should come and see you, or my wife said I should come and see you, or my friend said you're great and therefore I should come and see you. And I always say to them, that's the wrong answer. The answer should be, I'm here because I want to change, and these are the things I want to change, and I need help in doing that. If you've come to get help because someone else said you should, you're not really ready. So those type of people they're not ready. You can take them so far, but eventually they're going to stop, because they're not really invested in it. They didn't come on the journey because they thought they had to. It's because someone advised them to. So I'm not a big fan of kind of referrals. People got to be ready. The next one is, are they willing to do the things to change? If they're not willing to do the things to change and they're happy with the status quo, then they could be really challenging. Because you're going to say, from a nutritional point of view, you've got to cut out X, and I go, well, I really like X. Then are they willing to do the things necessary to do that? And then the last one is, are they able to do it? So you might be ready, you might be willing, but if you can't actually do it because of your circumstances, your environment, the people around you, then anything a coach advises and recommends you do is not really going to work, because you can't implement it. So the answer to your question is, everyone is a challenge because of those three things. But probably the most challenging clients are the ones who've got the ability. They are ready to change, they're willing to change, and they are able to change, and they just don't. And you got everything going for you. Why the changes in there? And the ones with those clients, it's when the light bulb comes on. They go, now this is what I have to do. And they're the most satisfying ones. And they're the ones I remember the most, because you can just see, it can be from one day to the next. Suddenly something goes off in their head and they go, right, time, I need to get serious and change. And they're the most satisfying wins, I suppose. Where other clients who know they want to change and they're doing the things, but the road is long, it takes them a while. They're the ones that need their hands held for longer and so forth. It's just the ones that you just see something go, and for one day they've been the most dragging them along and thinking, you can't, you can drag a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. Suddenly they're just drinking. They just can't get enough of it and they just fly. They absolutely fly. So I don't necessarily have one case, but they're the kind of people that give the most satisfaction when suddenly they just fly. And it's quite pleasing to see from there. So I always say to people, no matter how tough it is or things aren't going right, just stay in the game. Just stay in the game. Don't give up. Just keep doing what you can. And if we get a little bit of progression, then we're winning from there. So.
Right. And on that point, on my list of questions that I've prepared for our talk, one of them was, what do you think is the reason they give up? Like you said it is a long journey, and that's what I experience. And people are being often deceived by all this marketing 7-day challenge or whatnot, and people think, oh, I can change things in 7 days and 21 days and 30 days. Well, the reality is that's not enough to change the behavior. That's not how we work. If you read the papers and listen to neuroscience these days, they tell the behavior change take from 60 or even 21 days, in a very rare occasion, up to 256. That's what I've heard. So some habits for some people just take almost a year to become a habit, right? What is your experience that make people give up? What are those danger zones, and how people can learn about them, know about them, and maybe do something about them?
I think it's many factors, but I think probably the one that is the most common is they start on a journey. They want change. They come to you to help them change, and it's really the coach's job to be honest with them from the start. And I always say to new clients, I have no idea at this moment what will work for you. And any coach that does, not saying that they're being untruthful, but they're selling something that is going to trip them up more likely later. And if you can't deliver on a certain promise, then that client can go, well, this isn't working. And because they've stepped out of their comfort zone for this change, which is uncomfortable, they can easily just step back into the comfort zone and go, that's not for me. So I'm very honest with clients at the start to say, at this stage, I have no idea what will work for you. But as your coach, we will work out what will be right for you. And it's really important because whatever it takes to get to your goal, you then have to sustain it to stay at your goal. There's no point getting you to do unrealistic things to get good results in 21 days or 30 days or whatever it is, and then you can't stay there. You just go back to what you're doing. And I say to people, if you're someone who's looking for a short-term win and no long-term gains, then I'm not the coach for you. And there's plenty of coaches out there who will sell you a 30-day dream, and they'll get you great results in a very short amount of time, but the likelihood of you then maintaining, sustaining those results is beyond most people. So what we want to do is work out what will work for you, but what's realistic, what's sustainable, what can you keep doing as we move forward. If I get that right, then the dropout rate is quite low. If the person drops out, I, as a coach, look at it and say, okay, what did I deliver? What did I fail to do to help them stay in the course? Now, I've had clients, my longest clients I've had are 20 years. I've been with 20 years. The average client will stay about 3 years. So I'm not saying that to say, hey, great, my client stay with me. It's more about, okay, what I'm doing must be working to some degree. I do get people who will try it for a few weeks and then drop out, and they're probably not really willing or able to make the changes. But I kind of pride myself on helping people stay in the game, because there is a solution to everyone. You might not find it in the first 21 days, you might not find it in 261 days, but we will find it. And then it's your ability to stick with it. And this is the crux of my coaching approach. There's 3 areas that I help people in, so they can make a change and sustain change. And the first thing is to teach someone how to persevere, how to stick to something, how to be robust, how to be consistent, how to just push through when things aren't going well. If you can learn that, and if you look at all successful people, they have that skill. If I can teach someone that, then the chance of them giving up is very minor, very small. Not guaranteed, but less likely. And then I look at the environment. What environment are you in that allows you to persevere? Are you got an environment that makes it really hard to stick to something? Or do we have an environment that makes it really easy? No friction, everything you trying to change is easy to do? Or is it an environment where every time you try to change something, it's so difficult. There's so much friction. There's so many barriers and obstacles. So if we get the environment right, then your perseverance is going to pay off. It's going to be a lot easier. And the last one I work people on is self-belief. Do you believe you can change? If you don't have that self-belief, then it doesn't matter how much you persevere or your environment. If in the back of your head saying, this is not going to work, this is not for me, then it's all going to come crashing down. So if I work on those 3 areas with a client, then they're less likely to give up.
Right.
They're going to keep going and wanting to get those results. But at the same time, you've got to show them progression as you go along. Show that they are winning by doing that, by persevering, by getting the right environment, to having more self-belief. If you can see that you're winning, no matter how small the victories are, then they'll keep going. If they don't see any victories, any wins, then why give in? Why keep going? You might as well just, I'm not getting what I want, and therefore I'll give up. So as long as you do those things as a coach, it sounds easy, but it's not. Then the likelihood of a client giving up is greatly reduced from there.
Right.
But if you're trying to sell them the world and promise them everything, because it sounds good and it'll get them as a client, you probably will, but they won't stay as a client. And what you end up as a coach is spending a lot of your time trying to find new clients instead of keeping your existing clients. So I'd rather go down the road of getting the start right, so they stay as a client for longer, even though the results might not come as quickly. That's better for the client, but it's also better for me as a business, because I can spend more time coaching people than having to find clients. And I've been doing that for 25 years now, and I would say it's working for me, because this is all I do. I don't do anything else on the side or anything like that. This is what I do. So I'm reinforced by my clients that I'm doing something right.
Right.
If they stay with me, and I charge good money. I don't have any clients who just throw money at something. They're hard workers. They're not mega rich, so they don't have a lot of disposable income, but they stay with me. They see the value in what they're getting from it, and therefore they stay. And that reinforces to me as a coach, I must be doing something well, otherwise they won't keep paying me money.
Right.
So,
Right.
that's the real test, isn't it? They keep paying you money.
No, that's right. And I wanna reemphasize what you're saying. I recently made a post. What is the biggest mistake that people do in terms of reaching goal or kind of establishing a habit, which go hand in hand. And one of these biggest mistakes that I pointed out was people think they can do it on their own. And I think what you just said is reemphasizing why it is so beneficial to have a coach, because at least 2 of those 3 points teaching you perseverance, right? It's really hard to teach that yourself, right? I mean, you can read books and you can do things, but we know that our motivation goes up and down. We know that our mood goes up and down. We know the life circumstances change all the time. So in order to stay on track, having someone, you know, there, a coach there, is very important. And then the last point that you said, changing your image of yourself, your self-belief, and believe in your ability to change. I think it also so hard to sustain without a coach. It's really, really hard. You know, you can listen to motivational speaks, inspirational speeches and whatnot. They're not there when you need them the most. And they don't talk back to you. That's the thing, you know, those speeches, you know, the speakers, those videos that you watch, they don't speak back to you. They don't reflect back to you. They don't, they haven't been with you through your journey. And that's where coach, I think, is instrumental. If someone hits all those three points, like you said, ready to change, you know, have the ability to change, and well, the environment, you said, it's something that's possibly can be fixed. They change the people you hang out with. You can, you know, do things in your home to make it more helpful for your new habits. You know, you can throw away some garbage food. If we're talking about food, you can buy some jumping rope, you know, rope, whatever it is, right? So I guess the environment is somewhat changeable. So if people are having all those things, I think a coach is such a great investment.
Well, there's a few things there. Going back to the, you know, perseverance, environment, and self-belief. How a coach fits in with that is the perseverance side. With my clients, it's accountability. I hold them to account. I will turn up if they turn up. You know, I will hold their feet to the fire. So that will help with perseverance. As you say, it's very hard to learn perseverance on your own. But if someone's holding you to account, someone is making sure that you check in and they check in with you, then that greatly helps. When it comes to the environment, that's where the education comes into it. So I educate my clients on how to change the environment. And when we say environment, it's not just your physical environment, but also your mental environment, your social environment, the people that you mix with, who is influencing you outside of me. You know, if I'm trying to influence you to live a certain way and there's 20 people trying to influence you a different way, then, you know, we're up against it. And then with the self-belief, it's giving that person the support to become the person that they wish to become. So accountability, education, and support is where a really good coach shines. If you can provide those three things, then a client has a greater chance of winning. But on the side of getting people to make the changes and so forth, it always comes down to value. What is it you value the most? And we can always tell what someone's values by the actions they perform. Okay, so if you're saying, I need to lose weight, therefore I'm going to cut out ice cream, but then you are eating ice cream, that says you value ice cream more than you value weight loss, which is fine. I always say to people, that is fine. It's not a judgment. It's not saying it's wrong, but that's what you value the most. What I need to do is help you change that value so that the losing weight is of greater value. That's not to say to not value ice cream. If you want to value ice cream, go for it. But we need to work together to help you value weight loss even more. So when you come to that decision, what we call the emotional seesaw, you know, I want to lose weight because I feel better and look better, but the ice cream, oh, that's really nice. And that ties into the delayed gratification and instant gratification. And when someone is in a certain mindset where instant gratification is what they want, then you can't defeat that. That's what they're going to have, and that's fine. It's then trying to help them refocus on the delayed gratification. Okay, that's fine. What's the feedback we got from that? I gave into ice cream because I was tired and stressed. Okay. So how do we make sure you're not tired and stressed? Because when you're tired and stressed, you're more go for instant gratification. So how do we make it so we have the environment that doesn't give you that instant gratification mindset, more delayed, gratification mindset. So talking to someone about how they value something, and I can tell quite quickly from someone how much they value something, because how much they're willing to change, able to change, or ready to change, based on the values they place on things. That comes back to what you're saying about getting clients, to believe in themselves and so forth. Is if they can put enough value on that thing in the future that they want to achieve, then you're halfway home as a coach. My job as a coach is to support them, as I say, and that's through building rapport with them. Get to know them really well. They get to know me really well. We know which, where I'm coming from, where they're coming from. There's a coaching method called synergistic thinking, where it's in the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And Stephen Covey talks about 1 + 1 = 3. And he bases that on that. In a coaching relationship, I'm an expert in what I know. The client is an expert in what they know, which is themselves, much better than I will ever know. And if the two experts work together, then you get a bigger outcome than if you have one person leading and one person following. So as a coach, you want to build that relationship and that rapport with the client, so they give you their expertise. They tell you what they're thinking, how they can handle something, and then you as a coach off that go, okay, this is what we're going to do. Where a lot of times you get coaches who will say, right, this is what we're going to do. Just do as I tell you, and then we'll get to where you want to go. But if you're not taking into account, their expertise and what they're capable of doing, then 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. And 3 is a much bigger number. So building that rapport with someone as a coach is so important. Now, I started off coaching in an environment where it was face-to-face, in a room with someone. Emails are just coming on the scene. Video calling was not even, anywhere close. So now coaching is very more challenging, in the sense that if it is just online, how do you build that rapport with someone? So I, as a coach, am developing different skills and ways of coaching people. And if you asked me 20 years ago, you'd be coaching people all around the world, I'd be going, how do I speak to them? I don't know what I'm doing. So that's quite exciting, and that's why Coachdotme platform has been really helpful over the last 5-6 years to learn to be a better coach online, and not just face-to-face with someone in the room with me. And that comes with its own challenges, and don't always get it right. But I always try to build that rapport as quickly as I can, because you just have a better partnership with that person.
I wanted to ask about specific habit, because we launched this program, Better Daily, where we go through 48 keystone habits, and we feel these are fundamental habits that if people have them, they have very good foundation for pretty much anything in their life. And we started with sleep. I know you have clients who you help fix the sleep habit. A lot of people know the value of sleep. They understand why it's so important, and still have the issue going to bed on time, sleeping enough hours, looking at their devices before they go to bed, having a good evening routine, having a good morning routine, all these habits around sleep, right? Well, first, share maybe your experience working with your clients around sleep. What are the difficulties? What are the things that you've seen again and again people struggle with? And then if you can share one little hack or thing that worked for you and your clients around sleep, that would be amazing.
Well, when you ask the question about the hack and so from there, a part of me goes, oh, I don't know, because my whole approach is to help people long term, not short term. But as I was saying about small victories and seeing progress, then those small hacks can help, even though they might not be for a long-term solution. If people are seeing small wins and they stay in the program, and that's the most important thing. Keep showing up. So sleep is, as you rightly said, is huge. And what you guys are doing with what I call the keystone habits, the things, the fundamentals, that if you do well and you do it consistently, you'll see progress. And sleep is a big one. It's said that the pillars of nutrition and exercise stand on the foundation of sleep. So you can do all you want with your nutrition and exercise really well and all that, but if you don't have good sleep, then that's all undermined. So it is huge. But on that, it's a really challenging one to get right. So a hack would be that accountability. So I've had clients who tried to improve their sleep, and I will message them at a certain time at night. And if I see that it's been delivered, the message has been delivered, or they've answered the message, then they haven't
they failed. They failed.
Not failed. There's no such thing as failure, just feedback. So the feedback can be, okay, you said you wanted to get to bed at a certain time. What happened that stopped you from doing that? Okay, that's interesting. Let's work out that puzzle, that riddle, and come up with a solution. So what will be different tomorrow? What could you do different tomorrow? But the hack there is they know they're going to have someone looking at them. So if you don't have a coach, have a friend, have someone who will, check in with you and go, have you done this? And one of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to achieving something is they don't share it with people. They might keep it to themselves, because if they don't stick to it, it's okay. Only I know I failed, so that's okay. But if you share it with the world, and then the world comes back and go, how's that going? And you're going to go, oh, not so well. You then feel, accountable to doing what you say you're going to do. So the hack would be is tell everyone, as many people as you can, what is it you're trying to achieve? What's the action that you said you would do? And then the world will check in with you and see if you have or not. And you've got to ask yourself, do I want to be the person that says they're going to do something and never does it? And then, the boy who cried wolf. So if I keep telling people I'm going to do something and don't do it, people go, oh yeah, Chris has said he's going to do that, but yeah, whatever, Chris, you never keep to it. You don't want to be that person. So actually sharing with people and then seeing it through. So I compete, but I'm not good at it. It's ultra marathons. I go and do 100K runs and things like that, because I enjoy being out on the trails and things that's not competitive at all. It's just a wonderful thing for me to do. But because it's such a hard challenge, months out from a race, I will tell as many people as I can that I'm doing it. So at the end of May, I'm doing a 100K race, and I tell as many people as I can, because they'll say, how's the training going? Oh, that date's getting closer, isn't it? And that just keeps me focused on what I need to do and doing it, because I don't want to get to the end of May and people go, how did the race go? Oh, I didn't do it. Oh, I thought you said you were going to do it. I don't want to be that person that doesn't do what they say they're going to do. So that's, I would say, is a good hack. to just tell people, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get to bed by 10 o'clock every night.
Yeah. No,
And
I
then
love
people
it.
kick in.
I love it. I think it's a great thing. I published a book in 2019 about female midlife crisis, and it was hard because a lot of it was a memoir about my own struggles, and a lot of it was hard to put on paper, let alone kind of get into the world. And I think what kept me going and finally kind of hitting that send to publisher, send to printing house button, that I told people that the book is coming out. I booked the book, whatever, reading event, where I would go autograph book signing event. And I just knew I cannot escape. I told people I'm doing it. So there is kind of going back. So that accountability, definitely. Make sure you get someone who is like not your best friend, someone who's not gonna let you go
let you off
that easy.
Well, this goes into the back to the ready, willing, and able. If I say to clients, okay, I want to achieve X, what is it you're willing to do? If they kind of and go, then they're not willing or ready to make the change, and that's okay. We have to change the goal. So what is it you are able, ready and willing to do, and then we'll work with that. Because if you put someone on the spot and say, okay, what are you willing to do, and they can't make that commitment, then don't force something onto them. Saying, right, Lydia, I want you to do this. This is what you need to do, Lydia, to get that. Okay, and you nod your head because I'm the coach. You're paying me money, and you nod your head. And then when we come off the call, you go, yeah, but not really. That's tough. That's hard work. I'm not really willing to do that. But I just said yes to Chris because, it got me out of the uncomfortable situation. So as a coach, never force things onto people. Get them to come up with the solution on their own and see what they're willing to do to move forward. But then that comes back to, as you say, having people around you that are supportive. And I say to my clients, there's 4 types of people you encounter when trying to achieve a goal. First one is a buddy, someone who will do it with you, who's got the same goal, and they'll go to the gym with you, or they make sure that you're on the same diet together and things like that. But as you said, then why not hold your feet to the fire? And then you've got cheerleaders. So a coach would be a cheerleader. So I say to my clients, I'm your cheerleader. I will support you. I'll encourage you. I'll hold you to account. And I'll be your biggest supporter. And then you've got what we call your saboteurs, the people who don't mean to, but they'll put things in the way and undermine what you're trying to do. And it's usually the people who love you, and they're trying to, make you happy and things like that. And they know that some ice cream makes you happy, but that's sabotaging your weight loss goal, for example. And those people, all you need to tell them is, this is what I want to achieve, and that's why it's so of great value to me. I need your help. And they suddenly become cheerleaders. The people you want to avoid is the hecklers. The people who say, you've done this before. You've tried this before. It's never worked. What's the point of doing it again? And they usually have got their own issues, those people. Maybe they failed at achieving what you're trying to achieve, and therefore seeing you fail will reinforce that it's not possible, and therefore it's not them, it's the goal that's impossible. So they've got their own, issues. And you can't avoid hecklers. They're always going to be around. But what you want to do is surround yourself with as many buddies and cheerleaders as you can, and convert as many saboteurs to cheerleaders as you can. And then the hecklers don't have so much influence. But if you're always surrounded by hecklers, then it's not going to be easy. So yeah, getting the right people around you, sharing it with the people who who will support you and encourage you, then yeah, it's probably the best hack of all. Don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Even if you fail, it's okay. You've tried, and you put yourself out of your comfort zone, and people will admire you for that, and support you when things don't go well. But if you keep it to yourself, no one knows. And they can become saboteurs because they have no idea that you want to achieve, writing a book. If you keep it to yourself, then people are going to throw up obstacles without knowing it. So yeah, talk to people, especially when it comes to sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It's been very interesting. Hope our listeners also got a lot of information for their consideration whether to hire a coach or to become one. Coaching is, in my view, is one of those kind of life skills that everyone would benefit. Not necessarily becoming a professional coach, but just having these coaching skills. So thank you so much. Yeah. It's been great, and all the links to Chris's website and profile on Coachdotme will be at the bottom. So please go ahead and check out those links and join coaching. All right. Well, that's all for today. Thank you.